Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, something is funny about my computer. That's why I'm asking. And I would really appreciate it to whoever can turn on their videos so I could talk to people and not to the screen, please.
Sorry, Rabbitson.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, so today's topic, an interesting one we have today. From selfish to unselfish. Do you know, we all know that there is different people, the people that are always there to help, to be helpful, that they are the people that whenever there is a need in the community or in the family or in the class, they're always available. We see that in adults. And then there is the people that don't even know how to start helping. You can never count on them. Whenever you would ask for something, they're never available. They're never capable of doing anything for anyone else. They don't know how. They're not necessarily mean people. They just don't know how to be there for other people. You know, it's interesting because sometimes we even see it in very little children. You see the little kids who love to be there to help and be there for others. And then those kids who are, it's all for them. You have kids sometimes that you put in front of them a piece of, this past week, I had kids in my house and they asked me for straws. So I went, it was a boy and a girl. I brought a blue straw and a pink straw. And I gave the blue straw to the boy and the pink to the girl. And the girl says, no, I wanted the blue one. So I said, okay, let me go bring you a blue one. She said, no, I want this one that's his. If I would bring a different one, it wouldn't solve her crying or her problem because she wanted what the other one has. Now, these people have more work to do in their lifetime. Obviously, little children, it doesn't mean that that's how they're going to grow. But I have a question for you. Which kid is more lovable? The one that's all for me, or the one that's all for everybody? So if a little kid is easier to love when he is there for others and he sees other people and he's considerate of others, how much more so as an adult? So many times we look at ourselves and we say, okay, let me stand in front of the mirror. What am I? Who am I? Am I for me only? Or am I there for others? And then there is levels. There is, I'm only there for people who I want to be there for them, but not really for certain people. There is levels in that too. But now let's say we recognize the fact that we are selfish. You know, there are people that, it's very funny. Running a shul, you see that there is the people who are always doing everything. And there is the people that are always complaining, why does so-and-so does everything by himself and he doesn't let other people do? And it's the funniest thing because no one assigned for that guy to do everything. And if you would come and take care of certain things, everyone would be very thankful to you. But it's just like the little kids. No, he brings milk, that's what I wanted to do. And you'll tell him, okay, no problem. From now on, he's more than happy. He only wanted there to be milk in the coffee for people in the shul. You want to be in charge, go ahead. It will happen for 1 day, 2 days, and that's it. Why? He really wants to. It's not that he doesn't want to, but his mind is not yet, and I'm careful to say yet because that's what we're going to learn today, that we could change, not yet designed to think about the needs of others and put as a priority other people, sometimes before ourselves. Now, I would like to go now to the book and read from the book a little bit, and then we'll discuss it outside. So, what are the thoughts of someone who is considered selfish? What does he think? He thinks, what's in it for me? You know, unfortunately, there are people who say this sentence even when they're dating, even when they're married. They say, what is there for me? What's in it for me? A person that gets married with that question in mind, a person who goes to date with that question in mind, even if they marry the best person in the world, guaranteed that they're not going to have a good marriage. Why? Because getting married, it's not about me. Getting married is about building an institution together. When you become a partner with someone, you can't think about what about me? What's in it for me? You're thinking about the business, and you're both going to put yourself into the business and make the business be the successful. And when the business succeeds, then you become successful too. The same thing in the marriage. We look for a partner to build a family. If the family is successful, we become successful. But if we look to get married for our own success, the marriage will not be successful. No other way about it. So, what goes through the mind of the selfish person? What's in it for me? What are the thoughts of someone who is considered unselfish? What can I do for someone else? That's what goes through the mind of the person who is not selfish. We all need to think about our own needs, wants, goals, and dreams. Being unselfish means that we also develop our care and concern for the needs, wants, goals, and dreams of others. We develop our kindness and compassion. It means that we think about what we can do for other people. So, yes, Chazal tell us, Im en ani li mili. If I'm not there for myself, who will be there for me? We can't count on other people for our needs. We have to be self-efficient. We have to take care of our needs. We have to make sure that we eat properly and we rest properly and we get the proper entertainment that we need and the proper friends that we need to keep us happy, and everything that we need to take care of ourselves. We can't rely on others for that. Not that we cannot, that others should not be helping us, but we have to be self-efficient. Now, so a person might think, well, if I cannot count on other people, why should I be there for them? And that's where the difference is between being selfish and being unselfish. The person who is not selfish, he needs for himself to become a better person. Therefore, let's say as a wife, if I want to be the best wife possible, I would want to be good to my husband, regardless of what he does or doesn't do. Because my success is to be the best wife possible. If my purpose, my goal is that when I go to the store, I'm going to smile at everyone and be super nice to the cashier. When I'm super nice to the cashier, I'm not doing her a favor. I know it will make her happy. I know it's going to make her feel good, but I want to be the one who makes other people feel good. And therefore, I'm not doing her a favor. I'm doing for myself what I like to do, which is help other people. So, how do I help other people? By thinking what will make them happy? What is their need? They're having through a hard time. Let's see, where can I stick myself in a helpful way? Is there something I can do? So, you see, there is a difference there. Someone once asked me about my classes, about um, this class. And when I explained to her what it is all about, that it's all about me fulfilling myself, becoming the most fulfilled possible, she asked me, she said, actually, it was tonight's sponsor is Mimi Sharifi, and it was by her son's wedding. I was sitting by the chuppah, and a lady who sat next to me had that discussion with me. And she said to me, so isn't that being very selfish? And I said to her, well, it depends. If me includes other people, so then as I lift myself up, I'm there for my circle, which is my husband, my children, my siblings, my in laws. And the greater we are, our circle becomes greater. The smaller the person is, the circle is just around him. And that's the question. Do I want to be this small? Do I want to be my circle of self to be just around me? That's the only person that his needs make me happy or unhappy. Or when my husband's needs are being taken care of, that gives me as much pleasure as when my needs get taken care of. Am I as happy when my husband enjoys the food as much as when I enjoy the food, or not really? That's what makes a person selfish or not selfish. The person who only makes him happy what he and only he enjoys, that's a person who is all to himself. He is selfish. The person that he himself includes others, that's a person who becomes much greater person. So if I want to be a great person, I should enlarge my circle. And in my success story, in my pleasure story, it should include other people. Some people are so selfish that when their babies are babies, they still enjoy giving them. And when they grow up and they become adults, you hear how they want to take away from their own children even. They don't even realize what they're doing. And I'll tell you what, it's true. I'm sure you're thinking, no, for sure she wouldn't want to take food from her child's plate. But how many people would say something to their son about his wife that would take away from his shalom bait, from his happiness, for her respect? Isn't that being selfish? And isn't that loving herself way more than her son? Forget about the daughter-in-law. if she really wants her son to be happy, what would she do? So sometimes it's not always to share our food. It's sometimes to say, I don't need the respect. I can let go of it for my child to be happy. They don't want to come for Shabbat. I might feel insulted inside. But excuse me, Abigail, why should you be insulted? Don't you want them to be happy? And if that's what you want, then you should be happy with them, whatever they're comfortable. So you'll have a honeymoon, just you and your husband without the married children? Enjoy it. Didn't you want the honeymoon when you just got married? It's all our outlook on life. We could be miserable if we choose to, and we could be the happiest people if we choose to. We could think, what's in it for me? But it could be all for me. When I do a chesed to my neighbor, when I care about somebody else and give them a good advice, when I give from my time, when I give from whatever it is, for the unselfish person, that's for me. That is for me. When I really mean it, when I say, or anyone else, I'm just saying me, what can I do for you? And I really mean it, that's what can I, that's me. You see, so we're always going to stay with us in the center. It's not that the other person is more important than me. That's never going to happen. And the proof to that the Torah tells us, "Ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha." You should love for the fellow Jew what you would love for yourself. So what are we comparing what we would wish for others for as the ultimate good? That we should want, we should wish for others whatever we would wish for ourselves. So when we see the success of someone else, we should be as happy with it as if the same way that I would be happy with my own success. Now, getting there, becoming that person, is becoming a great person. Why? Because the greater your circle of self is, the greater you become. Am I explaining it properly? Can someone type something or tell me if I'm being clear?
It's pretty clear, that's it.
Thank you.
Yes. You.
Thank you so much. Okay. So ultimately, a person who is unselfish will really be much happier in life than someone who is selfish. Now, this is very important, this paragraph. A person who is selfish will never have enough, like that kid that I offered to bring her a blue straw. I asked her, why? What do you like more, the blue or the pink? She said, I like pink. So I gave you pink. No, but I want blue. Why? Because he has blue. Okay, I'll go get you a blue one. No, I want this one. And if it's not this, I cannot be happy. So a person who wants it all, what's for me, and I cannot be happy with somebody else's happiness, but only if it's only me, and the me is this small, the me is nothing great, is this little the me, then that person, how great could be his happiness? You see, if I am as happy for myself, as happy for all my friends, when I see my neighbor getting a beautiful house across the street, and I say, oh, it's so pretty, I love it. Now, every time I'll drive by, I'll get to see a beautiful house. People travel all over the world to see beautiful things. When their neighbor next door puts something nice, they're not happy. Why? Be happy. He brought you beauty next to you. But we have to be greater for that. We have to be bigger. We have to include the beauty of our neighbor as if it's mine. All the goodness is mine. And therefore, when I help someone else, I'm not doing them a favor. I am becoming more. Because after all, it's my circle of self. I became a greater person. So a person who is selfish will never have enough. A person who is selfish, who is unselfish, I'm sorry, will be happy with less than a selfish person. Why? Because he's happy with other people's stuff too. And he will experience much more happiness in life for all the many kind things that he says and does. Included in his good, pleasurable moments are included when he gave a gift to someone, and when he called someone to make them feel good, just to say hi and goodbye and thank you, and it was so nice to see you. All that will give him happiness. To call someone and say, wow, it was so nice to see you yesterday. It really left a very sweet taste in my mouth. That gives him pleasure that he did it. He enjoyed the act. He actually enjoyed the act. So then he has a lot more enjoyable moments in his life. Sometimes we think we do a chesed to somebody else, we're doing them a favor. If we really know how to do favors and we enjoy doing the favors, that is our source of pleasure. And it's a tremendous source of pleasure. Gosh. Sorry. So this person, a person who is unselfish, will be happy with less than the selfish person. And he will experience much more happiness in life for all the many kind things he says and does. He will have more friends, obviously, right? People are going to like him because if he is there for them, and be more beloved by others. He will have more self-respect because he is great and he knows that he's great because he worked hard on it. Because maybe when he was a little kid, he was crying for the blue straw, but he didn't stay there. He didn't stay like a 3-year-old wanting the straw, and he learned how to develop himself and become a greater person, and will gain greater respect from others because he's such a good person, even though that is not his goal. See, if we're doing it for the respect will not come. Chazal tell us, כל הרודף אחר הכבוד, הכבוד בורח ממנו. Whoever runs after honor, honor runs away from him. And whoever runs away from honor, honor follows him. So if we're looking for the honor, it will only hide away from us. And if we really can't care less about honor, we enjoy the deed. We enjoy being good. Who cares if other people realize that I'm good? I know I'm good. I try my best, and that's what counts. And if I think that I could do better, go ahead, do it. Tomorrow, do better if you can. And if you can't, accept it. If you know you're really trying your best and this is the most you could do today, pat yourself on the back and hope that tomorrow you'll be able to do more, because that's what we have life for, to become greater and more powerful. So even though he will gain more self-respect and will gain greater respect from others, even though it is not his goal. In this sense, the unselfish person really helps himself more than the selfish person does. So the selfish person was so stingy that he wants it all for himself. So he ends up with what? With a handful. The not selfish person that's spreading his goodness to everybody else, he ends up with a bunch, not just with a handful. Why? Because he planted seeds of himself all over the place. So he has so much more than the selfish person. Now, if you close your eyes for a few moments and think about people that you know, not in a judging way, just, you know, it's funny when people say you're not allowed to judge is the biggest joke because we constantly judge. Now, as I'm talking, you're judging, oh, that makes sense, or I don't understand it, or it doesn't make sense to me. Isn't that judging? If you wouldn't do that, you wouldn't be paying attention. When you look at someone and you say, how pretty, that's a judgment. There is no such thing that we don't judge. Chazal don't say don't judge. Chazal say, Hevedan et kol adam, judge the entire person, the entire picture. And since you don't know the entire picture, always understand that your judgment is very limited. So we judge, and we should know that it's according to my understanding. We all see through our own glasses, and none of us has perfect vision. Even 2020 is not perfect. See, the X-ray machine could see my bones, and I can't. So there is better vision than mine. We're limited, we're very limited. But with the eyes and the understanding that Hashem gave us, we have to constantly make judgments because otherwise we wouldn't improve, we wouldn't become better people. So to say you cannot judge, where does that take you? If good and bad are equally the same, let me be bad. It's easier. So obviously, it's wrong to say you cannot judge. What we can't is we cannot be the judge. We have to judge and say, oh, what I just saw happening is horrible. Why is the person horrible? I cannot know because I don't know what happened. Maybe he was sick. Maybe he couldn't see. Maybe he didn't hear. That's the difference between judgment and judgment. So, going back to our topic, so what is the underlying difference between a person who is selfish and someone who is not selfish? It's their self-talk. A selfish person, his self-talk goes like this. It will be about how he doesn't have enough and how he constantly needs to get more. He's going to say, first I need to take care of myself. After I'm taken care of, then maybe I could start thinking about others. But as Chazal tell us, no one leaves this world with even a small percentage of his wishes coming through. No one fulfills all his wishes in his lifetime. No such thing. So the selfish person that thinks, let me first take care of my needs, will never get to take care of his needs because he always wants and wishes more than what he actually has. The unselfish person's self-talk will focus on what he can do for others. Even when he needs to think about his own needs and wants, he includes the needs of others in his thoughts. So the person might say, oh, today I need to do laundry. I have to do laundry today. Not today because it's the 9 days, but whatever. Let's say today I must do laundry. And then someone calls and says, can you please help me? I need this and this and that. And you say, ha ha ha. So if I do that, there is no laundry. But you know what? My laundry could wait for tomorrow. She needs my help today. When you do it with so much pleasure. Today I did something that I cannot do tomorrow. You see, the laundry could wait. But the selfish person says, I have to take care of my needs. I have to do what I need to do. Otherwise, everything will get messed up. I'll lose control, blah, blah, blah. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times in life that we do have to say no. And yes, we are more obligated to ourselves and then to our spouse and then to our children. There is an order in chesed. But you see, it's two different things. As long as we think I am only myself, then yes, I have to take care of myself and my laundry and my house and my children. But once I feel the other Jew as part of me, then everything changes. Sometimes some people are so giving that you have to remind them that they do need to take care of the laundry because their husbands need socks for tomorrow and the children need clean uniforms for school. And yes, that is your obligation before you go to help your neighbor. Yes, we first need to fulfill our obligations before we could run around doing chesed. But there is a very big difference between not cooking dinner for our own children and instead cooking dinner for our neighbor who is okay. She wasn't in the emergency room. She's okay. Maybe she had a headache. So my children don't need dinner, but her children will have. That is, I don't know. But when we sometimes there is situations that yes, the children will learn a very great lessons because they know that my mother always had dinner for us and she always took care of us. But then one time there was a situation and she didn't even cook dinner. That night she ordered pizza because she really wanted and was there for whoever that was going through a rough time, and she sat with them and spoke to them, and that's why she had to order pizza because she had no time to cook dinner. So let's not make a mistake. Yes, we come first, but who is I? Am I just me? Or am I and my husband? Or do I include my children? Or do I include my friends? How big is my I? Is it this skinny and little and misken, miserable? Or is it large? What is my I? And this is something, now that I'm saying what is my I, actually, that's Ein I. Nothing to do, just happen to be. The Ein Tova, the good I. The Ein Tova that we see others with a good eye, not taking away from me, but actually if I give them, nothing is less by me. I become more when I share. I don't become smaller. Okay, so the unselfish person self-talk will focus on what he can do for others. Even when he needs to think about his own needs and wants, he includes the needs of others in his thoughts. Can a person change? Now, this is the big question. So let's say we look at the mirror and we see a person that doesn't yet know how to really be there for other people, who doesn't know how to be the one. Some people think it's because I'm private. Some people think because I did not grow up like that. Different people have different reasons why they're more self-centered. And the question is, once we think about this, I'm sure anyone who thinks about this concept wants to be greater, wants his circle to become a greater circle. So is it possible to change? Or whoever was born to want the blue straw because that's what the other boy got would want the blue straw forever? So can a person change from being selfish to unselfish? in a short time. Although it takes time to integrate an unselfish pattern, one can start to think unselfishly in a moment. So Rabbi Pliskin here tells us that we could change like this. We just have to start asking ourselves the question differently. That moment can be even now. To master being unselfish, develop the habit of thinking about others. For example, you ask yourself, what can I do for the people I care for? What can I do for this person I just met? You just met someone for the first time. What can you do for that person? That person has a need. How can I help him with his need? You see a lady, she needs a ride from the supermarket. Can you give her a ride? She's asking for a taxi. She went to the office to say, can you get me a taxi? Maybe you saw now she has a need, right? Maybe you could go over and say, where do you need to go? I can give you a ride. You know what a good feeling that is to do that? So you see someone, they have a need. Can I do something about it? That's a way to learn how to be unselfish. Or what would a kind thing to say? What would be a kind thing to say to this person? You see someone at a party, happy, still you could do a chesed by saying a nice word. What can you tell them that would make them feel good? If you see someone sad, what can you tell them that will make them feel good? What can I say now that will be encouraging? What can I share with someone? How can I be the greatest help for the most people? How can I make a difference in my community? How can I make a difference in my shul? You have children in school. Can you make a difference in the school? Get involved in the PTA. They have a day trip. Maybe you could be one of the parents who is driving. Maybe you could host the Chumash party or take treats. What can I do for others? How can I make a difference? I'm hungry. When I get myself food, how can I also help someone else get food? There are so many people. I actually don't know how to do this. But some people know how to say, I'm going to go get myself a drink. Can I get you a drink? It's so beautiful. That's being not selfish. That you know you're thirsty and you're thinking about the other person. Maybe he needs a drink too. Okay, so this is the type of questions that we could learn to ask ourselves in our own mind to change from the unselfish to become from selfish to become a not selfish person. Think of some unselfish role models that you have met or read about. Which of their patterns can you adapt for yourself? We have so many beautiful books of men and women in our Jewish world who were a role models of chesed. Their entire life was shining with chesed, and there is so much that we could learn from them. A word of caution. Some very kind and giving people might consider themselves selfish because of their very valid and normal concern for others, for their own needs and wants. Okay, so there are people who are, you know how in every midah, in every quality, being laid back and being an angry, anxious person, being serious and being funny. So neither extreme is bad, neither extreme is good. We need to know how to balance things at the right time. Selfish and unselfish. Selfish sounds horrible. Anger sounds horrible, right? But the reality is that we have to have the right balance. So a person who has the tendency to always be there for others, many times they're guilty of not taking care of themselves and not taking care of their immediate families and not taking care of their husbands because they're so selfless. And because my husband is part of me, just like the way I don't take care of me, I don't take care of my husband. And just like I don't care about my sleep time, I don't put my kids to bed on time. And just like I don't care about my eating habits, I don't really have a schedule for my kids to eat. And they eat whatever, whenever, however. Okay? So many times, from being so not caring about our own needs, we hurt the very people around us. And we think that if I'm going to make sure I go to bed on time and I eat on time and I take my time, I say, I'm sorry, I have to eat now, then that is considered being selfish. So no, that is not being selfish. Taking care of our needs is not being selfish. Not including other people's needs in our life, that is being selfish. Okay? Knowing what our needs are and taking care of them is a must. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we will not be able to take care of others either, especially the ones that we owe to take care of them. Being selfish is not seeing other people as part of ourselves, not seeing the community as part of my obligation, not seeing my extended family as part of my obligation. Now, of course, I owe a lot more to my husband than to the other man in the community. Of course, I owe a lot more to my children than to the other children of the community. Of course. It wouldn't be right to say, well, if you're paying your children's tuition to yeshiva, why don't you pay the other kids too? No, because Hashem gave me these children for me to pay for them. And that's my obligation because Hashem gave them to me. So that's what He put on my lap. But then there is communal needs. So if the community says everyone has to put a certain share in the tuition fund, then yeah, that would be my obligation. If everyone is volunteering to the shul somehow in the ladies committee, then yes, that would be my obligation. Of course, if my family takes 80% of my time, maybe my shul would take only 3% of my time. But still, I need to dedicate myself to the needs of others as well. And that is my life. It's part of my life. Just like when I feed my baby, it's not my own body anymore, but it's fully mine, right? It's fully my responsibility. So are other communal needs and family, other people that are not within my own body. That's becoming unselfish. So I hope we clarify that part. That being not selfish doesn't mean not taking care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. It's a priority, it's a must. But part of me is other people as well. So have a sensitive balance. If you need clarification about what would constitute a healthy balance, ask the opinion of someone you respect. Sometimes people would want to ask the Rav, the Rebbetzin, someone that they trust, that they know that they can respect and rely on their opinion, what is my obligation? That's okay to go and consult it with someone. Sometimes even a life coach or a therapist can help you with that. So where is my obligation? what is my duty. But definitely it is something that we should want to be, and it's amazing how much pleasure it gives us. So if at the end of the day what we are looking to be is happier people, by becoming greater people, our happiness and joy and pleasure in life becomes so much greater too. I hope everything was clear. If there is any questions, I will be more than happy to try to answer them. And if there is no questions, then thank you for joining and good night.
Thank you, Robertson.
My pleasure. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.